Tekken basics. Today we're gonna go over throwing, how to throw, how to break them, and let's get started. So there's gonna be three types of throws universally. There is a one throw, which is done by pressing 1 and 3 at the same time. There is a two throw, which is done by pressing 2 and 4 at the same time. And there is a 1+2 throw, which is different for each character, but it always involves pressing 1 and 2 at the same time. Now, for those of you coming from Street Fighter, if you are not sure how to do a back throw, in other words, throw someone behind you, you have to do a two throw. Two throw, always put them behind you, and then you'll switch places. One throw also, of course, will throw them in front of you. Now, that's how you do the throw. So how do you break them? Well, in Tekken Revolution, there's actually a really big window on when to break them. Before, you have to actually do a pretty strict timing. But in this one, you can really just break it right there and you'll be fine. So, to break a throw, you have to press the same button that they're pressing to throw you. So if they're doing a one throw, you want to press 1 to break it. If they're doing a two throw, press 2. 1+2, you gotta press 1+2. So I know what you're thinking. How the hell am I supposed to know what kind of throw they're gonna do on me? Is it just a guess? No, it's not. There's actually different animations for each throw they do. So if you notice, a one throw, he's extending his left arm. Two throw, he's doing his right arm, and 1+2, he's doing both arms. And that's how you tell which kind of throw he's going to do. Now, to make more sense of it, the reason we call these numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 is because if we were to call them by what they're actually called, it'd probably take a long ass time to write it down as well as say it. So a 1 is actually called a left punch, 2 is a right punch. So does that start making more sense to you? So left arm, right arm, both arms. And the way you counter them is by pressing the same punch button that they're pressing. So if they're throwing you with their left arm, you want to counter with your left punch. And that's how that works. Now, there are other kinds of throws. There's the running tackle, which is done by running at your opponent from about half screen. You don't have to do anything else. You just do that and you'll tackle them. Once you're on the ground with them, you get to press punches. So you'll punch them with your left hand or your right hand, depending on which button you press. And you get, I believe, 5 punches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, 4 punches, my bad. And you get to alternate between the two. Doesn't matter. There are some characters that have a tackle done from standing. I think Kazuya, King, Paul, not sure who else in Revolution has it, but you break it the same way. And to do that, there's actually 4 different times you can actually break the tackle. The very first time is the moment they make contact with you, and you do that by pressing 2, and you'll knock them off. The second time you get to do it is before you hit the ground and after they make contact with you. And if you press 1+2, you'll actually reverse the tackle. You'll mount them instead, and you get to punch them in the face. Now, the third time you can break it is actually on the very first punch they do. So if he punches you with a 1, then you press 1 to counter it. Left punch and counter with your left punch. 2, 2. The fourth and final time you get to break this damn throw is actually on the very last punch. So if he actually hits you, you guess wrong from the first punch, he gets 2 free punches afterwards, and then you get another guess to break it. The last punch, which does the most damage. And the same thing, you just guess if he's going to do a left, a 1, or a 2, and that's it. Alright, so let's go ahead and go over King specifically, since he has multi-throws, which is basically a combo that he just keeps throwing you and over again. A lot of people don't know how to break this stuff. It's pretty simple, really. Requires a little bit of guesswork or research. You can figure out all of his throws and know how to break them all, or you can just be lazy and guess which one he's going to do. And the 2 most common ones you're going to see is the Rolling Death Cradle, which does the most damage. That's why it's most popular. And let's see like that. I think that's, oopsie. I don't play King anymore, do I? There it is. Something like that. I don't know. You'll be seeing that one, and you'll also be seeing this one. And I don't remember the rest of it. The reason being seeing those two most common, as I mentioned before, the first one is the death cradle, which leads into the most damage and the least amount of break opportunities. You only get to break it 3 times, and then you're dead pretty much. The other one is actually done because they are trying to do this, and they get a missed input, and they get this instead. So most king players will recognize that they keep messing that dumb move up, and they'll learn how to do that multi-throw. To break this one, this is the rolling death cradle one. The first one is a 1. So you press 1 to break this very first hold, and then the rest of them are 2 throws. So you just mash on 2, and you'll eventually break it. For this one, it's going to be 1 plus 2 to break the very first one, and then the rest, I think you just mash 1. Honestly, I'm not really certain. If you're finding a king player that's doing all sorts of different kind of multi-throws, what I would suggest doing is picking a button and sticking to it and just mash the hell out of it until you eventually break out of it. Of course, you can just alternate between 1 and 2, and then maybe... Oh yeah, one last thing. The giant swing. So you can actually, if you don't tech the very first part of the giant swing, you actually tech the last part, which is the one he actually hits you with. All you gotta do is time it and press buttons as soon as you land, and you'll be fine. You'll take, I think, like, I don't know if it's half damage, but you'll take considerable less amount of damage if you tech it. You can also just be, lazy and just mash the hell out of buttons while you're flying in the air. Once you land on the ground, you can stop mashing buttons, and sometimes you'll get it, sometimes you won't. If you learn how to time it, then you'll get it every time, and then you will, avoid a lot of damage. But mashing seems to work most of the time anyway, so there you go.